Have you ever wondered what makes a horror story really scary? I'm not just talking about jump scares, but that deep, unsettling fear that just sticks with you long after the movie's over. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a fundamental secret of horror storytelling, a core principle that one screenwriter stumbled upon after more than a decade of writing, and it totally changed their entire approach to the genre.
And yeah, this isn't some dry academic theory. This comes from real-world experience. The writer we're learning from spent 15 years in the trenches, crafting 8 different feature screenplays. So this discovery wasn't made in a classroom. It was forged through years of dedicated, hands-on work.
So get this writer had a fascinating routine. They would write a psychological thriller, then a melodrama, back and forth. But here's the crucial part. While they were working on those, they made it a habit to watch films from every other genre you can think of, all to widen their creative perspective.
And all that watching paid off. Big time. By really digging into how different stories work, they started to see these unique rules that each genre kind of plays by. But one genre, in particular, had a rule so consistent, so clear, that it was impossible to ignore.
And you probably guessed it. That genre was horror. You see, while other genres might bend or blend their rules, this writer found that horror operates on this remarkably clear and defining principle. It's like a narrative true north that guides all the most effective scary stories. So what is this big secret? Well, it's surprisingly simple. It all boils down to a single powerful idea, a very specific direction of movement that pretty much every element of the story follows. And here it is. The core principle of horror is the movement from the outside in. This is the foundational rule we're going to break down. And trust me, once you see it, you'll start noticing it in every single horror film you watch from now on. And wow, this image just nails it, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the external threat, the classic haunted house, right? A physical place. And on the other, the internal result, that fear, that trauma, that's now etched into the character's mind. A great horror story's entire job is to bridge that gap, to pull the horror from the house and plant it inside the person. Okay, so let's define it clearly so we're all on the same page. The outside-in principle is basically this. It's the rule that everything in a horror story, the plot, the character's journey, even the camera's focus, is always consistently moving from an external threat to an internal, psychological one. Now, to really get this, we've got to look at how it actually works. See, this principle isn't just a metaphor. It operates on 2 distinct yet perfectly parallel levels, the external journey and the internal one. Think of it like 2 train tracks running side by side. The external track, that's the physical journey, a character literally walking into a haunted house. The internal track is what's happening inside their head as they do that, as that external fear gets internalized and turns into paranoia, trauma, or even madness. The real magic of horror is making those 2 journeys feel like they're one and the same. So here's why this is such a game changer. This isn't just some neat little pattern for writers to notice. No way. It is a deliberate technique. It's a blueprint for carefully designing and constructing the audience's emotional experience of fear. This structure is so powerful because it basically holds the audience's hand and guides them, step by step, into terror. It architects our acceptance of fear, moving us from a simple, "that place is creepy," to a deeply personal, "oh no, the horror is now inside me." It's what allows a story to get under our skin, because it merges the outer journey and the inner journey until we can't tell the difference between the monster in the house and the monster in our own head. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question, especially for any of you storytellers watching. If this principle is the key, then the goal of your horror story is pretty clear. So think about it. What external horror, a monster, a ghost, a terrifying place, is your story going to drag from the outside all the way to the inside?